My name's Peter Ilves. I'm a GP in Roehampton, and I also work on Wandsworth Clinical Commissioning Group and also on the Health and Wellbeing Board.
A lot of people were standing up asking questions, and you said, you know, you're here to learn and stuff, but a lot of the problems are existing problems. So how do you ever catch up with that, or is it always new problems that come, that's why things never get caught up with in terms of the services and stuff?
I mean, I think the reality, and we all have to admit it, that we never stop learning. So I suppose the statement that I make is that it's the realization that every room you step into, you hear new stuff, new ways of doing things. So even though we may be hearing the same issues, actually some of the solutions that come out of the room are truly very different. And I think the other thing is that with time, organisations evolve. So, you know, myself working within a public body, a clinical commissioning group as a GP, actually there have been some really major changes in the way the NHS is designed. So coming back into these rooms with those changes in place, there are some real opportunities. So the sort of learning that I've taken on board today are really quite significant, and in a way that's why I really wanted to make it the point that I was really happy to make a pledge on something very specific.
Some of the suggestions from people who stood up to ask the questions were telling you this is what you could do. There's people in the chicken shop, there's people in the barber shop,
Yes.
and that's where some of the first point of contact is for, you know, people to confide in.
Yes.
How could you use that kind of information to your benefit?
Yes, I mean, I think two things I'd say about that. You know, first of all is how many times do I and we need to hear that to realise that that is a very significant statement. So just recognising that as a first point of contact or a regular point of contact for people is highly significant. So it's really grabbing that and starting to meet with people who've had real experiences with that and turning that into something. I think the second bit of it is to then take it that step further. So how does it fit into the slightly clunky mechanisms that we have within the NHS, for example, to set up contracts and agreements and things like that. So I think the thing I'd say about that, and there was an interesting statement made at the table, was does everything have to be about evidence? You know, do we have to live our whole life as clinical commissioners saying we must see the evidence before we do anything? You know, personally, I think the answer is no, because if we see successes, even if there isn't an evidence base against it, then it is a success. If people are saying this works, then this works. So then we really need to look at how we integrate that and make that happen.
A lot of people had more of we're frustrated now, we want to see action. And from the evidence from the workshops and the feedback as well, yes. When do they start to see the action or the funding or all that kind of stuff?
Yes, I mean, I think that the first thing is, I think, and to be honest, I think this is not what we're always very good at, is, and I don't mean this as standing on a pedestal and saying how wonderful we are, but I think what we're not always good at is demonstrating our successes. So even when we're asked directly, you know, give some really examples of where things have worked, then I think actually, to be honest, we should really be able to do that. So, and the reason I say that is if we talk about successes, then that creates a better sense of comfort in the room. It doesn't solve the problems that are being talked about, but says actually this is an organisation that can do stuff. So I'm a bit more confident now. And then you go into a new conversation on the back of that. So as I said before, you know, we really do need to grab some of the ideas and the solutions in the room. And the point I was making earlier on about listening to the public voice, the person's voice, you know, the population voice, communities' voices, I think we just need to continue getting better and better at that. Because if we don't, and if people don't also come forward, or we don't create the places where people feel they can come forward, then to be honest, we're not going to put those solutions into place. So this isn't just a start, this is a continuum. And I really do have to say that, you know, this is a personal comment really, that, you know, Malik has opened my eyes and has led me to not only conversations but real solutions and ideas that can be turned into success.